Welcome, and we are back and ready for another episode. Now, let me pose a question to you parents out there. What if you taught your child about money and everything you said or came out your mouth seeped into your child's brain and they reacted on everything you said about money? What if they were overly enthusiastic about it and wanted to do things with money by themselves? What we're going to learn here today is a real life example of a child who has full awareness of financial literacy and truly enjoys it. Now, your child doesn't have to become a super genius in financial literacy, but if they could retain a small amount of what our guest today knows and use that with repetition, that will lay some strong bricks in their foundation. Our guest today is Rishi Vamdatt. Rishi is the creator of Easy Peasy Finance along with his parents, and the kid is only 12 years old. He started learning at 6 and since then has kept a full grasp on financial literacy. Rishi is learning, retaining, and using methods in financial literacy that some young adults don't even use today. Now, when you hear Rishi, he sounds like a young adult with a kid's voice. But when you listen, you can see the road that this child is heading on with his finances, no matter what profession or what career he may choose in life. Like I said before, he has Easy Peasy Finance Podcast, which is a podcast for kids, but adults can get information out of that too, which will help them just the same. He has a YouTube channel, and there's other things that Rishi is doing. And if it didn't sink in as of yet, remember, he is only 12. What were you doing when you were 12? So let's get into a couple of words from our sponsor. Oh man, come on guys, not again.
Sorry, Dad. Mom, get him. My dad is taking too long to start the show, and I am taking over as the producer. So let's start the show now.
Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have it all financially? Do well-off parents simply hand their children money? Or is there more to this wealth thing? Welcome to Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast. We are here to talk about everything you never knew to teach your children when it comes to starting their financial future. The principles behind wealth and methods that are out there to teach your child about personal financial freedom. There is no real trick to earning other than learning. We are here to discuss, teach, and grow with you. Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast, with your host and concerned parent, Eric Yard. Let us get right into today's show.
We all want the best for our children, and teach them can have its difficulties. But if you are persistent, there is a lot of connection that your child brain starts to make. And now some of that information starts to seep in and stick. So you might not see a change if this is done gradually, and that's okay. We as adults are fully aware of the problem that is out there when it comes to financial literacy. But through an eyes of a child, do they even perceive that there is a problem?
So I think not really a problem, but something that could be better, kind of. I feel like there's a lot of kids that there's a lot of kids that don't understand the importance of kind of learning about finance when they're younger, and also a lot of adults as well that can learn more about finance and how I see that a lot of times they're kind of overwhelmed, they're stressed out about money. There's a lot of stuff like that that's happening. And with Easy Peasy Finance, we're trying to educate people and try to solve those problems.
Now, just hearing that, you can tell that Rishi knows that there's an emotional aspect when it comes to money and that it can affect your judgment. So now I know you want to know, where did this all start for this young man? How did he get involved? And why is it such an ease of learning for him? Cause for me, I'm thinking there's a little bit of magic dust involved in here.
So when I first got interested in finance and everything, that was when I was 6. So if at the beginning, when I was 6, my parents, they had some books about finance just lying around. And so they weren't geared towards kids or anything. But at that time, I just picked one up and I started reading it. And I got really interested in that when I was 6. And so my parents, they saw the interest. And so they got me other books and magazines about finance, like Forbes, Fortune, Kiplinger's, different things like that. And I kept on being interested in that. And so eventually, when I was 8, then me and my parents, we decided to turn my passion for finance into something. So we made Easy Peasy Finance.
What is your favorite book? Since you've read so many books so far.
I mean, there's a lot of books. The first one I read was I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Yeah, and a few others I read, like the Kids Money book, Blue Chip Kids. There's a lot of things like that.
What's your favorite?
I don't know. I'd say Blue Chip Kids. That was like the first book meant for kids that I read.
The first tool that Rishi said out of his mouth is books. On this show, we've talked about books. Rishi just gave you a list of books, and that is a great place to start. Purchase some books in your child's age group and see where that takes them. Even if you have to sneak it in with other books, just start, because they might just be interested now.
So, I mean, like at the beginning, from the beginning, I was very interested in finance. And so, like, as the journey went on and how I created Easy Peasy Finance and it continued, like, I've been doing it for almost 4 years now. And so steadily, we've been, like, doing more and more videos and creating them. And I've also become actually more knowledgeable about finance as I research the topics, as I learn more about them. And so, like, my interest in finance, it's really grown since the time I was 6 and I first got interested.
What is your favorite?
I mean, there's a lot of topics about finance, also a lot of topics that like we cover, but I'd say my favorite is probably investing and how like using compound interest, you can earn a lot of money if you invest for the long term.
So now we have gone deeper within the rabbit hole, and he is now opening up to us that this started at 6 and that he enjoys learning about investing. Now at this point, I'm kind of impressed. He also mentioned the magic word, compound interest. You know I love some compound interest. Now you're wondering, okay, he's learning. Is he applying what he's learning now?
So like when I'm investing, I believe in like investing for the long term in to take advantage of compound interest and what I invest in. So currently, like even though I'm just 12, and since I started investing when I was 7, actually, I'm investing for my retirement, which is which is really far away. So I am investing for the long term in what I am investing in. So when I started, I was kind of investing in individual stocks and things like that. But as like time has gone on, I've realized that actually index funds are better for long-term investing because they provide diversification and they're kind of going with the market. And so over time, I've shifted my investment to that. And right now, I invest all of my money in an index fund that tracks the S&P 500.
Rishi, you just said retirement. What type of numbers are you looking for in retirement?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, retirement is really far away from me, obviously, because I'm just 12. But like, even if I don't invest a lot of money because of compound interest, even at just like 11% compound interest, which interest rate for the stock market, which is kind of a good figure for the last like few decades, even at that rate, I feel like even if I don't invest that much money, I should be able to have enough for my retirement by the time I get there.
I want to remind all of you parents listening is that remember, Rishi is not even a teenager yet, and he has a plan for retirement already. So now as a parent, you're wondering, wow, how can I get my child to hang out with somebody like Rishi, or maybe even hang out with Rishi himself? Well, you can. Now I'm going to tell you about another tool you can use, which is Rishi's podcast. Yes, Rishi has a podcast that your kids could listen to right now, which he knows is important for kids his age to listen to.
Kind of like before, like I feel like it's very important, especially for kids, to learn about finance. And so like our Easy Peasy Finance, it's kind of tailored towards kids because like the videos are short, engaging, animated. A lot of the things that we do, everything is about making it for kids and easy for kids, because I feel like it's very important for everyone to learn about finance, but especially for kids because they have a lot of things like on their side, like for example, compound interest, also like what I'm taking advantage of, because if kids learn about finance and everything, they'll be able to invest starting at an early age and will be able to make a lot more money thanks to compounding. And that's just one of the reasons. There's also like a lot of other reasons, like for example, kids, if they learn about finance at an early age, which is what we're trying to do, they can also do things like avoiding mistakes like debt, getting into like lots of credit card debt and things like that, and overspending. And those are things that we want kind of to help people avoid by teaching them to how by teaching them about finance starting from when they're kids, which is I feel like a really important thing that we're trying to do with Easy Peasy Finance.
Yeah, that is a great thing. Not a good thing. That is a great thing. Now, are there any special tools that you use when you're doing your investing?
I mean, for my investing, like there's not really any specific tools, just using a regular brokerage account for my investing.
What about as when it comes to banking? Do you,
So for banking,
as your
like I don't
parents?
have my own bank account or anything like that. So I don't have, and I also don't have my own credit card or anything like that. So there's not really anything I use for that either.
Everything wasn't peaches and cream for Rishi. Like any human or any child, they're going to have problems. And as parents, it's up to us to help our children get past those problems.
So I feel like it's the biggest challenge that I've encountered is probably at the very beginning, because now after these almost 4 years of Easy Peasy Finance, I've kind of learned a lot of things along the way, and it's a lot easier now than it was at the beginning. But I feel like one of the biggest challenges was how to get started and how to like how to find the animation software, how to do that, how to kind of get started, and also how about researching the different topics, doing the voiceover at the very beginning, because I didn't have much practice when I just started. So at the beginning, everything that we're doing is a lot harder. So at the beginning, all of these things that for just starting out and kind of discovering like how the correct way to do things and how to make the videos, that was kind of the most challenging thing. One of the big skills is kind of researching for all the videos, because I write all the scripts and then my parents fact check it. But like initially, all the research that I have to do, I feel like that's one of the skills I've developed. Like at the beginning, it took a lot longer and I wasn't as good at it. But now, after all this practice, I've really improved and I feel like I'm a lot better at researching than I was when I just started.
Now, Rishi has information that can also help young adults.
I mean, for investing, like one of the things you talk about is compound interest. And so, just like an example, kind of also about what people can expect if they're investing, like for the long term, using dollar cost averaging, which is another strategy that we kind of talk about on our YouTube channel. If someone like follows those things and invests for the long term, then like generally like they can expect like around an 11% return, which would actually, it doesn't seem like that much, but because of compound interest, if they do that and they're consistent in their investments and they don't like day trade or fall for like all the trends and stuff, then they can earn a lot of money. So for example, just one thing, if someone starts investing when they're 20, then by the time they're 60 for retirement, if they only invest $100 a month, then they'll have close to $700,000. So that just by following these simple things that don't really seem like that big of a deal, it can actually all add up, all the things that we're doing.
Now you ask yourself as a parent, why is Rishi and his parents doing this? What is the goal that they're trying to reach? And how does my child fit into this picture?
So I'd say kind of the end goal is to really expand and to be able to teach more kids and also adults about finance. Like I talked about before, kind of all the benefits, like compounding and avoiding the mistakes. I feel like if we can help more kids and even adults as well, also to avoid those mistakes and to get into a better financial position by growing, I feel like that's the end goal, just to be able to help as many people as possible. Like over time, Easy Peasy Finance has grown. Like for example, like in the first year, we got like 250 subscribers, but then after that, like close to 4 years down the line, we've like grown kind of exponentially, and now we have over 10,000 subscribers. So I feel like over time, just having like being able to do this consistently, publishing a video every week, I feel like that's just been a great thing that we've been able to do. And so just being consistent with that has led to a lot of growth for us.
So after hearing all of this, we just had to know through a child's eyes, what kind of action steps can a parent take in order to get their child involved?
So kind of like the first steps, if like for learning about finance, like for different topics, I'd say probably it's good to start with the basics. So like income and expenses, investing, saving, all those basic concepts, like if they're trying to teach their kids, and then working their way from there, like to different topics. So like the stock market, banking, taxes, retirement, different things based on what like the kid is interested in. I feel like that's one thing that parents can do, a few steps kind of just to get them interested. And from there, they can learn about more topics and become more interested. But I'd say the first step is to kind of teach them about the basic concepts. Like you don't have to like actually even like use a lot of time if you want to help your kids learn about finance. Like it's not something that takes a lot of time. So there's a lot of other ways instead of just sitting down with your kids. So for example, something that my parents also did for me was kind of like involving me in day-to-day financial activities. Like for example, like if we went to a grocery store and like the cashier, then my parents would explain to me about how we're paying for it and how we're using credit cards and how those are a part of money and different things like that. And depending on like the age of the kid, they can also do other things. So like if you're going to an ATM, for like people maybe in middle school, teaching about ATMs and debit cards and how you can withdraw from your bank account. Or if like the kids are in high school, then it was something that we parents can do is about how to create a budget. And if you're creating a budget, then involving your kids in that and explaining what's going on. And so that's one thing. And another way, instead of just sitting down with your kids, is that you can like give them an allowance. That's something that I feel like is really powerful, because that way kids can actually make their own mistakes as a kid when there's a lot less at stake. So for example, if they buy something and they don't have any money left over, if there's something else that they really want, they won't be able to have that. And so they'll also learn about like limiting spending and also saving. And those are some things that are really important. And also one other thing, like even if you're going to sit down with kids and like if a parent feels like that's the best way, then it also doesn't take a lot of time. And so it's not that hard. Like for example, if you use like a kid-friendly resource that's like engaging and short and things like that, then it doesn't have to take a long time. So for example, like Easy Peasy Finance is like a kid-friendly resource, and our videos are just like 2 to 3 minutes long. So like if a parent wants to teach their kids about finance, it doesn't need to take a long time. Like they don't need to sit down for hours and hours. It can just take a few minutes, and that can really be powerful, because I mean, a lot of people like they don't want to use a lot of time for this, but you don't need a lot of time, which is something that's really nice.
What is one thing people can stop doing right now?
One thing that people can stop, I mean, I'd say one thing is kind of about living within your means. Like a lot of times people like they don't realize what they're spending a lot of money on or things like that. And so like they end up not living within their means. And that can lead to a lot of problems, like getting into debt and different things like that. And so I'd say one thing that people can do kind of to counter that also is to create a budget. And so a budget is basically a plan for managing your money. And so it has your income and your expenses and what you want them to be. And so you can kind of allocate a different amount of money for everything, including a saving and investing. And so if you have a budget in place, it'll be a lot easier to see where your money is coming from and where it's going. And so that way you can kind of counter the problem of people not living within their means, if you can figure out where you can decrease spending and increase your amount for saving and investing.
Now, you might say Rishi is not having fun and he might be making himself an outcast with his friends, where it's totally not true. Rishi, like all little kids, is playing his video games. He's doing what other kids do. He's going to school. He just likes learning about money also.
I feel like the whole process is also really fun, like being able to research a topic, create a draft, then like have my parents fact check it and do the voiceover, and like how all of that leads to then publishing it. I feel like the whole process is also really fun for me, in addition to kind of like being able to help people and for them to learn more about finance. That's also nice, because like seeing how we're benefiting people and how a lot of kids are learning, and also adults, like even like people who are like 50 or 60, they're also like looking at our videos and learning from it. and seeing that is also really fun, in addition to the actual process of making the videos. All my friends and also teachers, they've been really supportive. All of them know about Easy Peasy Finance, and a lot of them actually also watch the videos. None of them are like as interested as I am in finance, but many of them do watch our videos, and they do definitely know about Easy Peasy Finance and have been very supportive.
All right, Rishi, I want to thank you for coming on Raising Financial Freedom.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you let the parents out there know where we can continue this conversation with you, and what do you have going on in the future?
So in the future, a few things that we're kind of doing. So again, we're going to continue to publish one video every week. And that's like something, because with consistency, like kind of before too, we talked about this, about how we're being consistent. And so like any person watching this, like Easy Peasy Finance will continue to make one new video every week. And also we currently actually have 2 books on Amazon, Easy Peasy Money and Easy Peasy Investing. And we're also going to work on a 3rd book, Easy Peasy Banking. So that's another thing that we're working on right now.
We will definitely look out for those books. And once again, Rishi, I would like to thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Wow, the things you could learn from kids is just incredible. I can pretty much see a bright future for Rishi. What I've taken out of this discussion is that there is examples of exceptional financial literacy everywhere. You just have to take the time and notice. Also, take a page or 2 out of their book and try to apply that to your children as well. As always, please go to our website, leave a review, let us know how we're doing and what you think could be improved on. But it's quick, it's fast, and it's right on our website, raisingfinancialfreedom.com. So until next time, stay safe and give the gift of financial freedom.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Raising Financial Freedom, the podcast. Stay connected with us directly through raisingfinancialfreedom.com. You can also join the discussion on social media, which you can also find links on our website. If you would like to speak with us, please send us an email through info@raisingfinancialfreedom.com. And as always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to please like and subscribe to stay fully up to date. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.